Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's football show here on STV2. The main talking points on tonight's programme. Can Caixinha plug the leaks at Ibrox? Will the fans heap more pressure on Cathro at Tynecastle? Which Lanarkshire team will come out on top in the derby? Just a few of the talking points and lots to talk about with a weekend of football. Of course, the Premiership will take centre stage, and there will be playoffs we'll be keeping a close eye on. And on a night like this, Aberdeen and Celtic will reflect on that match tomorrow. If you can join us on STV2 on Saturday's programme, starts at 2 o'clock. We'll keep you up to date with all the goals as they hit the back of the net, manager interviews, and of course we'll discuss all the red hot stories. In the company tonight of Alan Ruff is Hugh MacDonald of the Daily Mail. Delighted to have Hugh as our Friday night bookroom guest. Let's have a look at the back pages of the newspapers this morning. The Daily Record, first of all, plugging the leaks is the main obsession with Pedro Caixinha. Too many stories sneaking out, and he's far from happy with it. Rangers been linked with Ben Hennigan, and Brendan Rodgers there just mentioning that he reckons Derek McInnes, after the Bristol City affair, when it didn't quite work out for him, he reckons now his stature, he could go back down to England and make a success of himself. The Sun is the High Bees looking to bring Anthony Stokes back. There's a great picture of Neil Lennon actually chatting to him in Ireland. 2 and 2 always makes 5. It's a good headline. Gers looking at 2 Motherwell players possibly, Ben Hennigan and Louis Moult. The Mail, there's a picture there of Merouane Fellaini, and it's Manchester United heading for the final of the Europa League. And here is the Courier as well. And as you can see, United tipped to go for more goals. They're certainly in the driving seat when it comes to the playoff after that 2-1 win at Capello in the first match. And tomorrow will also reflect on the 90 minutes being played tonight there at Tannadice. So that's just a few of the headlines. Plugging the gaps seems to be the main concern, Ruffy, for Pedro Caixinha.
Yeah, I think he's actively trying to obviously move people out. Obviously he started with the players who are out of contract. We've already discussed that there are a lot of players on good wages there that they won't want to leave, but I do think the players who are being brought in at 6 o'clock in the morning won't be there either. He's okay saying, yeah, they need to be fitter, but I see it as a punishment. Modern day player will see it as a punishment as well. So I think the guys that are brought in will be leaving as well, because you're not going to put up with coming in at 6 o'clock in the morning, you know, every morning. And then you'll have to say to yourself, well, I need to move, I need to leave. I think it's an avenue for me for them to push them out the door.
Okay, he can plug the gaps in the team, but he can't seem to plug the leaks coming out of Ibrox with various stories. He's far from happy with that. I think that's an even more difficult job ahead, Hugh MacDonald, because there are too many parties in the background who quite simply don't agree with each other. And you can always tell there's unrest when that's happening.
The whole story about leaks is you only have leaks in unhappy clubs. You know, because that's where the stories are. There's no story. Happiness is the most boring story in the world. It's when people are unhappy, teams are divided, when boards are divided, that's when you get leaks, because people want to go to the press to present their side of the story, or even more malevolently, present a side of the story which hits on who they would see as opponents. Pedro Caixinha's biggest task is not to stop the leaks, it's to stop the reasons why the leaks occur. He might be able to do that with the team, he will not be able to do that in the boardroom.
Yep, absolutely. Here's what the Rangers manager had to say about it.
Just in one point, the majority of those speculations are coming from inside, and that's my main concern. So if they are coming from inside, I cannot stay that happy with that situation. So we need to seal, first identify it, after seal what's going on. We are a big club, and the big clubs cannot have this sort of behaviors. We are rule and manage from inside out, but our way, not the other way around. At least when I'm going to stay here, that is going to be the way we need to perform and work. No leaks, no leaks. I don't care. I just tell you that We are working on it, not myself, but everyone involved in the club. We have the responsibility to do it, but it's definitely one point that we need to understand.
I don't think leaks matter if you're winning games.
No, obviously as a new guy getting in there, he'll know how big the club is. Hugh's already touched on it. It's very difficult, you know, we get unhappy people who are there. They're the ones who are going to speak to whoever it is, they're friendly journalists or whatever. And that's the way it is in the game. So, you know, you're right, you know, if you've got a happy camp and the players are all pulling in the right direction, then it won't happen. It's just unfortunate. He's in the circumstance now where he's going to try and empty maybe 10 players. So he's got 10 unhappy players there who are not going to be going about with a smile on their face, and they'll say to somebody, you know, what is happening within the club, and that's just what happens in the game.
And the boardroom as well is riven as well. You know, there's big decisions to be made in that boardroom, and from what you can hear, not everybody is of the same opinion as to how to go forward. So there's going to be leaks there as well. Like everything else, if a club's in turmoil, people give out stories, and he really has to. I mean, that, you know, in a playing sense, if you start winning games, nobody cares. But the big problem with Rangers is it's not just about what's on the field at the moment, it's what's in the boardroom.
Okay, as far as the opposition, it's the early kick-off. It's Rangers against Hearts. Hearts going to be building the main stand to make it a 20,000-seater stadium. But I think that the main concern at the moment is whether the manager is going to be capable of putting his side out to fill that stadium. And Ian Catherall had these thoughts on the pressure that's intensifying from the stands.
It's something which, if you don't just accept as being normal, then it's going to frustrate you and cause you problems. So it's better to just consider that that's the way football is for a whole number of reasons. And I think society is probably chasing it down pretty quick and getting similar in some other bits as well. But that's the game. It's this industry. It's the intensity on it on a day-by-day basis. You're only ever 3 or 5 days away from the next game, and you're a genius or an idiot. So it's if that frustrates you, if it unsettles you, you've got bigger problems.
Yeah, the only problem he has to do is make sure that his player recruitment in the summer is good. He gets it right, and then if they start winning games, all this will be forgotten. Yeah,
but it's, I mean, he polarised the debate when he was appointed, no doubt about that. So there's many people wanting him to fail because it would back up their agendas. There's people wanting them to succeed because it would back up their agendas. I'm in the middle. I was just really interested. I thought it was a really fresh move, and like any other human being, you always want another human being to succeed. But I've been surprised at how quite dramatic it's been. We've got to remember Robbie Neilson left this club in second place in the league. We've got to remember it's 6 wins out of 23 games. That kind of record taken over a season, you know, spells real big trouble. So this transfer window is absolutely vital for Hearts and indeed for Ian Catherall. Yeah, I think a lot of fans that I speak to, Jambos, they're not convinced about him just yet, Robbie. I am of the opinion, like Hugh, you know, the boy needs to be given a chance. He needs to be allowed to buy his own players and then see a style. I can't see a style at the moment.
Well, it was a drastic change when he came in. You're saying bringing in his own players, Peter. He did. He brought in about 7 or 8 all at once and banged them all. I mean, he brought about 4 in 1 week and banged them all into the first team on the Saturday. And I would suppose a lot of them didn't know each other. It was a hard one to get your head round. And since that has happened, the successes aren't there. You know, you can't say that anyone, even the 2 Greek boys that come in with bags of international experience, you couldn't honestly say that they've been fantastic either. You're talking about the home base, the boy Walker has been very good. But apart from that, you can't honestly sit here and say that the people who brought in have made the team better, because they haven't, because the stats that Hugh have just come away with proves that they haven't done well. So I think the supporters are already waiting to see what the next batch is that's coming in.
Who wins, Rangers or Hearts?
I think Hearts would be good enough to get something out of that game.
What's good enough? A win?
1 each.
1 each.
I think Rangers should win, but this is a fantastic game because two teams under real scrutiny. But I think Rangers should be winning, given Hearts' recent record.
Okay. Does that mean Rangers win?
Yeah, that's
okay. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. But both of them at this moment in disagreement. One goes for a draw, one goes for a Rangers win. We'll talk more about the other games after this break. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show here on STV2. A fairly easy question, Ruffy. On the basis of last night's show, we certainly enjoyed chatting to Gordon Strachan about Aberdeen and that Cup Winners' Cup final. The second goal is always etched in everyone's history. If you're an Aberdeen fan, that is, with John Hewitt. But scoring the first goal, if you're not an Aberdeen fan, I think you might have a bit of trouble with it. We'll give you the answer at the end of the programme. Incidentally, we're talking about Hearts and their recruitment in the summer. Neil Lennon from the morning headlines, he's certainly looking to empty a few players now and start to bring his own in. Grant Holt gone, one of 6 players that are going to leave Hibs, and he was obviously pictured having a chat with Anthony Stokes. Stokes coming back, possibly F.A. Ambrose coming back as well if he can get the deal over the line.
Yeah, I'm a wee bit surprised about the Grant Holt one, because Neil talked him up a lot. You know, talked him up when he brought him on, you know, in the semi-final. He needed the experience, an old head. So I thought he might maybe hang about for another year, but that might be an indication of the kind of players that he needs to bring in, that these players have to move out. I think the
a bit of money.
Yep, I think the F.A. Ambrose one would be a good one. But again, it's like every other supporter, you're waiting to see who the first one is. Stokes, yep, we know what he did in the final, but I have to be perfectly honest, but for me, he never really did what I was looking for when he went there. Before that game, I thought he had more of an impact.
I think a lot of Hibs fans would agree with you as well. I mean, they felt certainly the second half of that season, he was, you know, Stokes was posted missing until actually the final. Yeah,
well, to be fair, there was so much at stake. You know, I don't think too many Hibs fans are bothering about it. He scored a wonderful goal in the final on the way to winning the game. Alex Harris, young ball with a lot of promise. I'm almost certain some of the lower league clubs will snap him up in double quick time. Also, Chris Humphreys leaving. Scott Gallagher, Brian McLean, and Jamie Insell as well.
Yeah, Chris Humphreys was just brought in and then, you know, obviously a short-term deal and out again. I know Neil had always liked his pace when he was at Motherwell, you know, and they'd looked, Celtic had looked at him at one point just because he was so quick. So Alec Harris, we could do a kind of a whole show on the Alec Harrises of this world. I watched him twice. I watched him at Rugby Park one day and I thought, my goodness, this kid's got he had that ability, Peter, just to glide past somebody. So what's went wrong there, I do not know. I hope, though, that he'll have to go down a level, but hopefully when he goes down a level, he can re-garner that creativity, that wonderful touch and sort of burst that he had and come back up. Because he's a player of great talent, but as you know, talent's only part of the package.
Yeah, absolutely. There's going to have to be something else as part of the package tomorrow. Aggression, belief, desire, all of that in the Lanarkshire Derby. This is do or die stuff. I mean, the whole area is going mental, Ruffy, for this one. Hamilton against Motherwell. I think it's the battle to avoid the playoff.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think for once, I think the stadium might be nearly full. I think there'll be a great atmosphere. I think both teams have dried up goal scoring wise, so I think whichever of the two of them can regain that. We all know the quality that Motherwell have got up front, and these will be the kind of guys that they'll be looking to turn this game round. We all know Hamilton don't score that many goals, but sometimes when they get the first one, they just dig in and manage to get through it. But I don't think that's going to happen tomorrow. I think Motherwell will turn up for the first time in maybe 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, the strange thing is, you've got to look and think about. Hamilton seem to be well used to being at the bottom end of it. Motherwell have obviously had the playoff before against Rangers. In fact, Stephen Robinson, the Motherwell manager, says this match is bigger than the Rangers playoff.
listen, we won't dress it up as we haven't done all, in the last run in games. It's a big game, big game for people saying it's, much bigger than the Rangers playoff game it is, because, we're still in control of our own destiny, and we're under no illusions how big the game is and how positive a result can set us up for Tuesday night's game. So this game, if we can get something from it, and especially a victory, then it really does set us up, and it gives us that belief back and the momentum which we haven't had all season. We haven't won 2 games in a row, so our challenge now is to put that 3-game run. Why not? Do you know what I mean? We've not lost against Accies all season. Scored 5 goals against them. We're going into the game very positive.
Yeah, Motherwell and Hamilton have that classic mix of 2 defences that leak goals. You see this is all the makings of a 4-3, the way things are looking. I just think if you're talking about quality and goal scorers, Motherwell might have the edge. Yeah,
and I agree with you, but we've been saying that, well, I have been saying that since Christmas, that Motherwell had the quality up front to get themselves out of trouble. I always look at teams in the bottom and say, well, where are they going to get their goals? And I reckon Motherwell and MacDonald and Louis Moult would have more than enough to be in any position that they're in at the moment. But now it gets really, really serious, Pete. I mean, we're talking about that old cliche, every game a cup final, and if Motherwell, I've got the feeling the air's been sucked from Motherwell over the last couple of weeks. Somehow, they just haven't been, operating at full level. And I think tomorrow's a bigger game for Motherwell than it is for Hamilton. If that doesn't sound too damp, because if Motherwell lose tomorrow, that's another blow in the last 3 folks that they really don't need. You could always imagine that Hamilton could take another one on the chin and come back. But I think this is. For Motherwell, the season might be on the line here tomorrow. Yeah, okay. Then give me your prediction on this one, Hugh. I think, it's easy to say a draw, but given the importance it is for Motherwell, I think they might just sneak it. Yep, I think so as well. I think I'm going to go Motherwell 2-1. Okay. He's giving you scorelines. Oh, this is the edge. Oh, you know what I mean? What's the point? Well, because quite simply, in previous shows, you went through this usual. Let's just roll out the coulda, shoulda, woulda. This can happen probabilities, and now he realises that we're not into all that stuff about it's going to be a tough game. It's just tell us. Give us your opinion. Are they going to win? We'd have to agree. I've had a wee bit to think about it. Today, we've done a preparation today. Absolutely. There's nothing like putting in more than half an hour of a shift on the programme. It's killing him, let me tell you. But we're delighted that Monday to Friday we're on a full hour. And Aberdeen, Dundee, Edinburgh, Glasgow and Ayr all watching. People actually not involved in football or playing it are taking spread betting on when they think Ruffy drops off in the show and contributes nothing. So that's our competition tonight. Not to 15, 15 to 30, 30 to 45 or the last 15. Let's see how hard hitting he is on it. Who's going down, Ruffy? Is this the day tomorrow where Kilmarnock put the final nail in the coffin for Inverness? No, I think obviously whatever way this Hamilton Motherwell game go, obviously I still think Inverness have got something to offer. I know they've got some away games to play, but any one of these teams winning a game could just put the fear of death into somebody who we don't think is out yet. Obviously after the games there's going to be still enough points to drag yourself in it or get out of it. That's why I think Motherwell see this game as really important, because they've got a home game coming up. But I think we're going to be in for a real deal tomorrow when the scores start flashing up in that telly. Okay, that's the great thing about a football show. You can agree or disagree. I don't agree with them. I think Inverness are gone, and they will be gone by tomorrow. I think Inverness are gone, and then if you're asking me who I would put in the playoffs, I'd say Hamilton. But I don't think there's. I know arithmetically there's hope for Inverness, but I've just not seen it in them. I know they had a good result last week, but I've just not seen it in them. Yeah, maybe the Morris Malpass effect. I know a number of players have mentioned that. Clearly, he's obviously tried. Listen, he was one of the best in the business at Dundee United and for Scotland over a long period of time, Hugh. Yeah, but there's an element, there's a limit to what you can do in such a short space of time, and there's and if the players haven't been good enough all season, and Inverness players haven't, it's a bit much to expect one man in a few mornings training sessions to turn everything around. I just think it's just too much for Inverness to do. I just think their season has been so poor and downbeat that it would take. I mean, I know what Alan's saying because it is so tight down there. But if you have to sort of, clink me to an opinion, my opinion is they're gone.
Yeah, and Kelly to win.
Yeah.
Yep, and Inverness to win emphatically. And if you open your mouth now and say it's either going to be a draw or a Kilmarnock win, which totally defies what we're talking about, what are you going for? An Inverness win?
Yes, I am.
Yeah?
You pressured me into Inverness win.
Kilmarnock to win.
I'm going to go Inverness 2-0.
Inverness to win 2-0?
Yep. Big Kilmarnock, Mud just told us Kilmarnock home form is atrocious.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, listen.
Well, let's wait until 10 to 5 tomorrow night.
Absolutely. Listen, I'll be doing this to you tomorrow night. If
looking forward to that.
Okay. Listen, we're going to have a quick break till I recover from that prediction from Ruffy. You can agree or disagree on it. We'll have a wee break. We'll have a wee bit of news update as well, and then we'll be back for the second half of the programme. Stay with us. Hugh MacDonald is our boot room guest on this Friday. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's football show. Alan Ruff is alongside me, Peter Martin. I'm delighted that Hugh MacDonald is still here with us in the studio after that quick little break. We're both recovering from Ruffy's prediction on Inverness to win 2-0 at Rugby Park. It's all about opinions at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter, facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy. Just give us your thoughts on maybe Ruffy's comments or anything else that's bugging you about your team. Or you can actually go against the grain and just drop us a little message with some positivity. If you're a happy person, you want to talk about something happy, because that's the biggest problem, Hugh. Sometimes it's just bad news that everybody talks about. Now, the reason we're going to we usually go to Ian McGarry, our English reporter, our main man down in England. We usually go to him in part 4 of the programme, but the reason why we're going to him now is because obviously Chelsea's just kicked off. They are 90 minutes away from being the Premier League champions in England, a point I put to Ian McGarry when I had a quick chat with him earlier on.
With the momentum they have, Peter, I think there's an inevitability about it. However, West Brom traditionally is not the easiest place to go when you need a result. True, Chelsea have done well there in the last 3 seasons in the Premier League, and also West Brom have taken only 2 points in the last 6 games, suggesting the old cliche, they're on the beach. But I think when you've got very good professionals there in people like Darren Fletcher, who we know very well, ex-Man United player who will be determined not to make it easy for Chelsea. I think, in fact, if I know Darren, he'll be very pleased that he's not having to give a guard of honour before they come out of the tunnel more than anything else. So, I think the momentum, yes, would suggest that they win it tonight. If not, they've got another game against Watford at home on Monday evening. So, look, the one thing is for certain, I think, now is that Chelsea will be champions. They only need 3 points from the next 3 games, and that's it. So I know you're a man sort of who likes his Tottenham Hotspurs, but not this year.
And as well, Ian, they'll be looking forward almost, or certainly Conte will be looking very much beyond the celebrations, what he does next year with Champions League. They've had a free year that way. They've got the Costa question, is he off to China? What do they do with Fabregas? Do they bring in a new defender, John Terry? It's going to be a very interesting time at Chelsea over the summer.
It will be, Hugh, and you made a very good point in that Chelsea have not had to cope with Champions League football in this season, and it's a lot easier to win the Premier League when you're not playing midweek, whether it be Wednesday or Thursday, which all of their competitors have been. And what will certainly be the case is he will have to strengthen the squad significantly to cope with the dual demands of European and domestic football next season. You have to say that, barring mass exodus, which isn't going to happen from Stamford Bridge in the summer, he's got a very strong squad as a foundation. But I agree that there will be maybe 3-4 significant signings in the summer. And of course, maybe the most important one will be the signing of a new contract for Conte himself, which I believe will take place in the next 2 to 3 weeks, in which he will get at least a 50% pay rise. And we'd all like that, wouldn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. We'd all like pay, to be honest with you. Let me switch your attention to a cracking match of the weekend, Tottenham-Man United. I'm an old romantic. I wanted Tottenham to somehow leapfrog Chelsea to the title. They're not going to do that this time. But Manchester United seem to be opening up a hornet's nest. Jose's put all his eggs in the one basket with the Europa League, and he's going to be resting some of his key players in games.
Extraordinary interview after the game against Celta de Vigo last night, Peter, in saying that already looking forward to the game against Crystal Palace on the final day, a week from weekend from today, that he will, basically rest the entire team. And listen, what we know about Mourinho is he says things in order to get a reaction, and in this case, I think in order to begin the debate before the debate turns to him and focuses on him as a manager who, as I said, Huddersfield Town in the Championship this season are already under investigation for allegedly bringing into compromise the integrity of the competition for resting 10 players a weekend ago in order to keep players fresh for the playoffs. Now, my own position on this is quite simple. You earn the right to put the team out that you see fit to play and which suits your particular ambitions and your fixture list best. So therefore, the idea that the authorities can somehow come in and punish you for fielding a team who they think is a weakened team, etc., is quite frankly nonsense. It should not be even a question. You have a squad at the beginning of every season who's registered to play in the league competition, and of 23 players, you should be able to pick any of those 23 without anyone asking you questions about it or raising the issue of, again, the integrity of the competition. So I think Jose has been clever. He's putting it out there before the Palace game on the basis that he has to win the Europa League to get into Champions League. And also, as we discussed last week in the programme, Mourinho is a serial trophy hunter, and he wants to complete that collection of European trophies for Manchester United and make history, because Jose likes to be the history man.
Last point then, I've got to ask you, 2 are down now, Middlesbrough, Sunderland gone. Who do you think is going to occupy the third and final place?
Well, I tell you what, it's probably more interesting at the top now, and often that is the case at this stage in the season. Hull City up against Sunderland last weekend, managed to then lose that match. Of course, Sunderland are already relegated. Swansea City, a magnificent result. Then on the Sunday, we have Swansea away at Sunderland this weekend, and you've got to ask which Sunderland will turn up. We know which Swansea's going to turn up, which Sunderland will turn up, and of course that will then impact on what happens with Hull. I've got a sneaky feeling that I think Swansea might just be the ones to escape, and that Hull will be the team to go down. And there's already odds began down here, Peter, with regards to Marco Silva staying in the Premier League next season in a different job, not in Hull City.
There you are. Southampton, here we come.
Well, you just have to look at it. I mean, Southampton, whatever you think of the manoeuvre behind the ball, a very straight business model, and it's to have, it's to bring through players and to sell them on while retaining their EPL status, and they do that by having very good managers. There's no doubt about it. Silva's done a great job at Hull City. He's a good manager. But if you look at who's come before him, they had Pochettino, Koeman, so they go down that road of a top class coach. Silva, I think, is a top. I mean, I just know he is a top class coach, and yeah, I think there's a bit of belief in that one.
Yeah, what's your take, Ruffy, on managers deciding to play inferior sides? I mean, we're both in the camp about if you name a squad of 23 or 25 players, you have every right to pick who you want.
Mm-hmm. And he's obviously sat back and had a look at it. What is my easiest way back into the Champions League? And he's decided it's the Europa Cup. It's a game against Ajax. I still think if they put out a decent side, they would still have a wee sneaking chance of sneaking into the top 4. But he's the man. He decides. He's the one. who's going to live by his decision, and it looks as if he's going to focus on the Europa.
Yeah, I was going to say, Hugh, I mean, I hear lots of loud cries coming towards the television now, just suggesting what happened to sporting integrity for other teams who might depend on you putting out a good side.
Well, other teams shouldn't be dependent on anybody else. Other teams do what other teams should do. You must gather the points. And if you go, I mean, it's as simple as this. As Ian says, you register 23 players who you think are good enough to play EPL football. Nobody argues about that at the beginning of the season. So it's up to you, as a management, as a team, to use the 23 players as befits. If a team goes down, whether it's Middlesbrough, Hull or Swansea, whoever go down, they cannot blame, you know, a Jose Mourinho selection. I remember that once one of the affairs that there was the manager, was it, what's his name, Neil down south, the Yorkshire, Neil Warnock, cracked up with Alec Ferguson, their friendship, you know, to Old Trafford, because against West Ham, Fergie had dropped a few players. I think they had a European final later. But that's Fergie's right. I mean, that's what he got to do what's best for his team, and that's what Jose's doing. I think if you said to Jose at the beginning of the season, the old cliche, all these conversations that everybody has at the beginning of the season, and all these arms that have been bitten off at the beginning of the season, if you said to him, a one-off game with Ajax for a Champions League place, he went, you know what? I'll take that. Yeah,
absolutely. Of course, best way to get into the Champions League for Manchester United, but who's going to win against Tottenham on Sunday? Just to get a wee prediction on that game.
I think Tottenham will win. I mean, I know they seem that they're deflated now once the thing's over, but I think they'll win.
Robbie? Yeah, I'm going for Tottenham as well.
Going for Tottenham, okay. We will look at the fantasy football. Ruffy's been storming back in the fantasy football. We pick our 11 players from a £100 million budget. I know that if Ruffy had his choice, he would not spend any of the £100 million, just take it for himself and not bother playing in the game, but we've been forced into it. We'll have a look at that. We'll go back to a couple of the key games in the Premiership, and we'll also be looking at some of the other playoffs taking place over the weekend. Yeah, Eric Black, and he was a fabulous player, Robbie. I think his career was cut short basically for back problems, but if ever a man could hang in the air and, you know, header the ball with great power, it was Eric Black. Yeah,
I think at one stage of his career he was a Scotland player of the future. I thought when he broke in, you know, I thought he's going to be here for a long, long time. I thought he was going to be a right mainstay in the national side, and what a terrific player, as you said, back post, hung in the air, great movement, and unfortunately, as you say, the injury sort of curtailed all that.
Yeah, at 34 years yesterday, Aberdeen won the Cup in Gothenburg 2-1 after extra time against Real Madrid, and a good Real Madrid side as well. Great days for the Dons fans. As far as the other two games that we haven't yet had a chat about in the Premiership, Dundee against Ross County. I think Neil McCann mentioned to me that he wants to win all of the remaining games, which is certainly what you would expect from a guy who's got such a great trophy cabinet, winners' medals galore. But I still am perplexed, and we're going to hear from him shortly. I'm perplexed on the Dundee manager's take on the future. It's a big call for him to take on this job and leave all his media work behind.
I've told everybody the exact same, that when I took this job, it would be for the duration of the games remaining, and my focus was to get the team winning and get ourselves out of this trouble. And until that happens, those 5 games are done, I'm not prepared to talk about my situation at all, because the most important thing is the club, is the players, and the fans are seeing this team in the Premiership next year.
Yeah, I think it's right to take that stance. A big call for him. He wants to keep all the focus on what the team achieve.
Yeah, I think he's bang on. I mean, he knows the media. He's a smart guy. I mean, he knows the media. He knows people will jump in what he says either way. So he's right to dampen that down. If you're asking me what I think will happen, I got the impression, I interviewed him a while ago, and I got the impression that football coaching thing was an itch that really needed to be scratched again. The other thing I think as well, I fully expect him to get, I think Dundee are just about out of trouble actually, but I fully expect Dundee to be in the Premiership next year, and that happening, I think he's the best candidate for the job. And if you put a gun to my head, and I haven't spoken to him or anything like that, I think that'd be a very attractive proposition for him.
Yeah, you haven't spoken to him recently.
Yeah.
But I think Dundee itself, a big call for him. He's an intelligent boy, as Hugh mentioned there. It's a big call to take that job, but the one good thing I think he has in his favour is the fact that he's well liked as a former player up there, Ruffy.
Yeah, but I think he'll have a lot of questions from the board. He will need some kind of direction, maybe over a 3-year deal. He will want to know how they're going to get Dundee back to where they were. He'll want to know whether they're going to continue to sell their best players, which would put him under a wee bit of pressure. But I think if he gets all the right answers from the Dundee board, I agree with Hugh, he's still young enough to do something in the game, and I think he's going to have a taste of the games that he's had. He's going to be excited by it, excited being in the dressing room, excited by winning games and the players being on a high, and if he gets them out of this escape route that he's in, I think that would just force him to make the decision.
Do they win tomorrow then, Ruffy?
No, I'm impressed with Ross County. I think Ross County are playing well. I think Ross County will get a point out of that one.
I think a point suits both sides tomorrow. It's like one of these Italian end of the season games where a point suits both teams, and that sometimes happens. And on the point about Neil, just to expand on that, remember, this is not just a television pundit that's coming for. This is a guy with a pro licence. Yeah. He's fully badged up. He's got the highest award you can get. He's got his pro licence. So I think if you take your pro licence and you get it, you're doing it for a reason, aren't you?
Yeah, okay. St Johnstone, Partick Thistle is the other match, and again, these two teams can coast towards the end of the season with nothing but positivity surrounding them. The big question for Jags fans now, they're looking at a manager who's got them into the top 6, and suddenly it's Swindon. It could be a few other clubs looking at him. Here's what Alan Archibald had to say about all this speculation.
I think it's always flat, and it's just a reflection on how well the club's doing in a whole, and myself, the players, and all our staff. But as I say, that's all it is. There might not be any truth in it. I'm not sure. So we'll deal with it. If there's any truth in it, we'll deal with that when it comes. The club's working hard on and off the pitch now. It's the strongest our squad's been in my tenure. So and we're building a training ground as well. So everything's going really well at the moment, and long may that continue. And as you say, it would need to be something good for me to go.
Yeah, need to be a stable club with a stable board who don't have a history of bulleting managers after a few months.
Yeah, I think Alan's a pretty sensible guy. He'll looked at the Scottish guys who went down to clubs that haven't been very secure and they've ended it out of a job. I think whoever it is, that comes in, he'll sit down and look at what he's got at Thistle and then look at where else, and I think he'll make the right decision. I really will. I think Thistle are going places just now, very financially stable, so I think it would have to be a big deal. But we saw all the Scottish managers thinking the way ahead is down south if you want to better yourself and get a better club, and I think that would be the only reason he would go, if it was an avenue to get to a bigger club.
Yep, Tommy Wright, he has just excelled again with St Johnstone. A 4th spot is good going for them if they finish that way, and he said this match is one of the most important games of the season.
Results last week, mean that we're guaranteed 5th place, which is another great achievement this season, but ultimately our aim is to get enough points in the last 3 games to guarantee 4th and get the European spot. So it's a massive game for us, and with Hearts playing before us, we could go into it knowing exactly what we need. If they were to lose or draw, we know that a win then would guarantee 4th place. So for us, it's the biggest game of the season. I
still think they'll finish 4th.
Yeah, I think so as well. And I think almost tired of saying about how good a job that Tommy Wright does up there. Interestingly, we're talking about going back to Alan Archibald and Thistle. I think it's been a great season for Thistle, but I've watched them live a few times and they've been unlucky this season. I think they could have finished even higher. I mean, I actually think there's been, a bit of rubbery green and a couple of decisions going their way. I think they've been super this season. I think there's a few players there that people will be looking at, notably the young centre half, and saying, you've got a real future.
Who wins it?
I'm going for Partick Thistle.
So am I.
Oh, great shot there, eh? Good stuff, Ruffy.
Partick Thistle v Real Madrid.
Yep. Thistle. OK, here's the fixtures for the weekend. Hopefully you'll join us on Saturday at 2 o'clock on STV2. Of course, Aberdeen and Celtic well underway now. Rangers Hearts, the early kick-off tomorrow. Dundee Ross County, Hamilton Motherwell, Kilmarnock, Inverness, Cally Thistle and St Johnstone against Partick Thistle. Now, Championship playoffs. This is what you've got to look forward to. Alloa against Airdrie. Airdrie with that slender lead. And Wraith Rovers against Brechin. That one nicely poised at 1-1. And Forfar against Annan and Peterhead against Montrose. And then there's this one, the first leg, East Kilbride Cowdenbeath for the right to actually stay in the top flight. And what about this? The Premiership, there it is there, Everton, Watford and West Brom Chelsea well underway. Man City, Leicester's the early kick-off. It's Bournemouth, Burnley, Middlesbrough, Southampton, Sunderland, Swansea and Stoke City against Arsenal is the 5:30 kick-off on the Saturday. So that's what's on offer. Just before we go, fantasy football, Ruffy, here's my team for this week. I just get a feeling there could be a fight back on the cards here. I've stacked it full of quality in the midfield. I've decided to go for Costa, just giving me the goals that hopefully will get me lots of points. And I always think Fabianski will do well because he's always getting shots in at him non-stop. What about your team? What do you make of yours?
Yep, I'm going to stick again with Vardy, who got me a lot of points last week, and I've got these again, as you can see, and I've run out of money for my strikers, so I've got these two prolific Stoke City strikers.
Yes.
Maybe get a goal. Maybe.
Yeah. I love it when he runs out of money because he doesn't check the fact that they haven't played in 5 or 6 games, so he gets no points for it. Fantasy football, absolutely magnificent. You can go to peterandruffy.com and join in with us, going our head-to-head in the Fantasy Football League and see how you fare with that. OK, it's been enjoyable chatting football. Join us if you can. STV2 Saturday at 2 o'clock. Gordon Smith will also join us in the chair to take you through 4 hours in the afternoon of every goal that hits the back of the net. We'll bring you the details of that. We'll have more manager and player interviews from your reporters at the key games. Hamilton Motherwell is an absolute must, and the playoffs as well. We'll reflect on the matches that have taken place tonight too. Thanks to Hugh MacDonald, absolutely magnificent as ever, and of course great to have Ruffy alongside me. Join us at 2 o'clock tomorrow. From myself, Peter Martin, thanks for watching.